Today we're going to be taking a look at a set that I've been waiting a very long time for, being 75380 Mos Espa Podrace Diorama. This set will be releasing on May 1st with 718 pieces and a pretty outrageous price point of $80 US. Now, as some of you might know, this set is part of celebrating the 25th anniversary of LEGO Star Wars and the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, with a 25th anniversary LEGO Star Wars logo at the top right corner of the box and a 25th anniversary Phantom Menace logo on the left side of the box, along with a really cool rendering of the set. On the back of the box, you're going to find another angle of the build, as well as a diagram in the bottom left corner showing the dimensions of the set, and a small little picture showing the actual pod race in the Phantom Menace. Now, actually opening up the box and digging in on the inside, you're going to find 6 numbered bags, as well as 2 loose, large tan plates, your instruction manual, and a sticker sheet with 8 stickers. In typical LEGO Star Wars 18+ set fashion, in the opening pages of the instruction manual, you're going to find some information about the build, in this case being the pod race. You can pause and look at it if you want. It was a pretty fun read. Then you're going to have some cool 25th anniversary art, as well as advertising for the upcoming book, and then from there jump straight into your building process. Unfortunately, there are no minifigures in this set, which I will touch on more later, but for now, taking a look at the build, I have some good things to say about it and some not so good things to say about it. First off, I think the terrain is just absolutely incredible. They did a really good job with the rock work, especially on sort of the main wall right here, and the arch looks really good as well. It's almost like a mock builder built this, not LEGO themselves. And if you're wondering how the arch is made, you can remove the whole thing and it's connected by these 2 spinny pieces, and that's what allows it to have the angle that it has. And here is the back of the build if you're wondering what it looks like. The rock work kind of spills over the black border of the diorama, which I think looks pretty cool. And speaking of the black border, on the front you're going to have a printed 25th anniversary brick, as well as a printed LEGO Star Wars tile and a printed diorama quote reading, "Remember, concentrate on the moment, feel, don't think, use your instincts," from Qui-Gon Jinn in the Phantom Menace. The actual floor of the terrain without the pod racers on there looks very good as well. They did a very good job at mixing the bright tan and the dark tan and creating a sort of path that the pod racers follow. And speaking of the pod racers, first up here we have Anakin's pod racer, and I think it looks really good. Towards the back here, you're going to have a stud that's supposed to represent Anakin piloting it, as well as 2 stickers on each side. And then from there, the front engine area is very detailed as well. It's pretty impressive how they were able to make this so detailed at such a small scale. Next up here, we have Sebulba's pod racer, which is way more intricate and way more detailed than Anakin's, although I still like Anakin's a bit better. Anyways, as you can see here, the engines look really good. There's some nice sticker detailing on there, as well as just lots of small pieces adding some nice detail. And just as seen on Anakin's, towards the back here, there's a little stud that's supposed to represent Sebulba. And if you're wondering how they connect to the build, there's just these transparent pin pieces on the bottom of each pod racer, and they connect onto the build at an angle that makes them look like they're actually flying, and it's pretty cool. It really does give off the effect that they're actually hovering and racing through the canyon. Now, for the most part, that was all of the stuff that's good about the build, and now let's talk about what I don't like. First is that, well, despite the terrain and the pod racers themselves both looking good, the pod racers are actually a bit too big for the terrain. In fact, Sebulba's pod racer cannot even fit underneath the arch. Obviously Anakin's can, but Sebulba's can't, and that kind of makes me really OCD. It sort of takes away from the accuracy and realism that a build like this is supposed to have, because it's supposed to seem like Sebulba's pod racer went through that arch, but in reality it can't even fit through. And then also the no-brainer and the most controversial thing about this set is the price. $80 for this is just absolutely ridiculous. LEGO really had no reason at all to make it over $70. Preferably this should have been $60, because it has 700 pieces and all of the pieces are very little 1 stud size pieces besides the ones that make up the border. So I think they might have been able to get away with 70 from some people, but in reality 60 would have been best, and 80 is just way too much. It's awful. I think the least they could have done to justify this price point was include a brand new pod racing Anakin minifigure, as well as a brand new Sebulba minifigure to stand on the side of the border and display with the set. But no, there's no minifigures, just 2 pretty small builds and some terrain for $80. Like I said, the terrain and the builds look very good. It's just not worth $80. There's no way to justify it. And actually here it is compared to the other $80 diorama set, which is also ironically very overpriced as well. And honestly, I really think the only thing the indoor speeder chase has over the pod racing one is that it actually has minifigures, and in my opinion the pod race actually has way better terrain than the indoor speeder chase. So it's really just pick your poison in this case. I would not recommend either of these dioramas for their full price of $80. I think they're both great sets, but their prices are just atrocious, although I would heavily recommend them if you could find them on sale for at least $60. Or if you're willing to spend the extra $20 at $100, you could just get the Emperor's Throne Room, which I think is leagues above these 2 other dioramas and actually worth the price. But anyways, back to just the pod racing diorama. Like I said, the price is just just atrocious. There's really no way to justify it at all. LEGO is just being very greedy here, and I don't like how the pod racers are just too big for the terrain. I think the terrain could have been a bit bigger, or the pod racers could have been a bit smaller, of course with a lowering of the price as well. So because of that, I'm feeling a 7.3 out of 10 for this set. I really do think it looks very good and dynamic on display. That price though is just atrocious. So let me know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.